Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders, great millstone, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel that are scattered abroad. It's your brother, Zakar. I was looking up this scripture here because I seen this video. I get this video up here. I'm gonna play it for you, and basically going into how a black it says a suburban football player says racist comments from teammates forced him to quit Aurora University. Okay, it says Fox 32 Chicago. And it forced him to quit because nobody was doing nothing about it. When you go to the higher ups or you go to the president of the school, HR or anything like whatever it is, they're not going to do anything about it. And that's how it's been. And I can say that through experience that here in Indiana, at least, there's all types of times, like every single job that I've had to deal with racism. Somebody saying something racist, and then I've had to snap on a few people, but I had to learn to use wisdom. And then I take it to the HR or something like that, and still nothing gets done. And that's how it is in Indiana. That's how it is around the United States. Like, these white people are very bold, and they want you to know that they're racist. They're not going to punish the people for saying it, and they're going to get away with murder like they've always done. And that's why we need the Lord. I want to play this video. Check it out.
That made his dad cheer. A moment that felt like a beginning. He's 18 now, but Brooke Williams has worked for a shot at college ball since he was 5. The Plainfield native chose Aurora University, 30 minutes from home, for the field and the feel.
I went on a visit, I think in like December, and I just really like the culture, and I just like the facilities and the campus, really.
Weeks into his first semester, he says that feeling changed and the locker room turned hostile.
At first, they made some N-word comments, and I was just like shocked and like appalled by it. And then after that, shortly, another guy said, why are you sleeping here? Don't you guys sleep in trees?
And he was the only black player in that room. He says a George Floyd reference followed, and all he could see was the scene the world can't unsee. Floyd dying under an officer's knee, and fear set in.
You're 6'3" saying this to a 5'7", that's intimidating.
As a mother, I was devastated, to say the least. Our whole family has been affected by this.
Brooke's mom, Aisha, says reporting it felt like a second fight. She pushed for a formal investigation.
I didn't give up. I was relentless. Emailed the president, the vice president, everybody. Every single day, they would give me no answers. Next day, I'm emailing again. Calling to the school, emailing, even the coach. I emailed him as well. And so finally, the vice president scheduled a meeting with us, and we went and sat down with her and the coach, my husband and my son.
The school's investigation found 2 players created a hostile environment based on race. Brooke says they kept playing while that investigation was going on. Their initial punishment, suspended from the team and put on disciplinary probation. But after lawyers got involved in an appeal, that changed. They'd take racial sensitivity training and be back on the field next January. Aisha says a meeting with the coach made it worse. That coach, former NFL player Don Beebe, a Super Bowl winner with the Packers, told them he knew the families of the players accused.
The words that he spoke in front of us and the vice president, I used to be in the NFL. I had black friends. Me and my black friends told racist jokes.
That's all they say. See, that's how they say it. That's what happens. See, when you go to report it, nothing happens. It's almost like you just got to fight. But like the Lord said, wait ye upon me until I rise up to the prey. You white people about to get fucked up, man. The Lord gonna fuck you people up, man. And it's well overdue. You get away with murder. You get away with all types of shit all the time, man. We fucking tired of you, man. Yeah, that's how motherfuckers say it. Oh, I got black friends. Shut the fuck up. Tired of fucking looking at you cracker motherfuckers, man. Shut the fuck up. Excuse my French, man. This is bullcrap, man. This is how it is. I know because I've lived through this. I've seen it. I've heard these same exact things. I've went to HR and tried to get help and try to, you know what I'm saying, so I don't fucking lose my job and end up homeless or something. But when you go to HR, when you get reported, they don't freaking do shit. That's why we just need the Lord, man. Yeah, I got black friends, all that bullshit. As soon as that's how you know they racist in the motherfucker when a white person says some shit like that. I got black friends. Shut the fuck up. Always pulling that shit. You people are fucking pathetic, man.
The words that he spoke in front of us and the vice president, I used to be in the NFL. I had black friends. Me and my black friends told racist jokes. He said, I want to forgive the kids like Jesus forgave David for being a murderer.
Brooke never got an apology, not from the players, not from the coach. He says the coach stopped speaking to him in film sessions, even skipped his plays on screen. That, he says, was the moment he knew he couldn't stay.
When we went to get my shoulder pads and my girdle and everything in there, a bunch of stuff was missing. My pads was missing. The only thing that was really left was my cleats and my girdle. A bunch of my gloves, my mouthpieces, my towels, they were all gone.
2 weeks later, a friend texted him these photos. Everything was back in his locker. By then, Brooke had already decided to leave, losing his...
So yeah, he went to go get something done about it, and then they started harassing him even more. They stole his shit out of his locker. This is Psalms 73 and 3. It says, For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there is no bands in their debt, but their strength is firm. It's talking about you fucking white cracker motherfuckers, man. You're the wicked. Now, not all of you, because some of you may be Israelites, but the majority of you are fucking wicked as fuck, man. Always saying some stupid shit. Talk about, I got black friends. How could I be racist? Shut the fuck up, man. It says there's no bands in their debt, but their strength is firm. Yeah, because they're in rulership. They rule the earth right now. That's why everything all fucked up. It says they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Nope, they don't get in trouble. Nope, they don't get in trouble, man. Nope. You know, they commit a school shooting and end up getting off for mental health reasons or some stupid shit, like they're mentally ill. No, they don't get in trouble. Okay, they go and kill their whole family and shit and end up in some kind of mental ward. Now they don't get in trouble, man. Okay, but when it comes to the black man, so-called black person, or Mexican, Latino, Native American, oh yeah, if the shoe was on the other foot and there was a white dude that was reporting that some black dude said such and such racist comments to him, yeah, they would have been all fucking suspended. But they don't get in trouble, do they? They just get away with shit, and then they get to harass him even more, stealing the shit out of his locker room after he told on him, trying to use wisdom. So you can't get away from these fucking crackers, man. These racist pieces of crap. You can't get away from them. That's why we need the Lord. It says their eyes stand out with fatness. No, I'll go back to verse 5. It says they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Yeah, they're very proud. All right. Going back to some of the things they said. What did they say to the boy?
I just like the facilities and the campus, really.
Weeks into his first semester, he says that feeling changed and the locker room turned hostile.
At first, they made some N-word comments, and I was just...
N-word comments. You know, and that's another thing, you know, choosing to go to these schools out there in the country or whatever, like where a bunch of white people are. It's not a good idea, especially in these times, man. These white folks are very emboldened.
Like, shocked and, like, appalled by it. And then after that, shortly, another guy said, why are you sleeping here? Don't you guys sleep in trees?
And he was the only black player in that room. He says a George Floyd reference followed, and all he could see was the scene the world can't unsee. Floyd dying under an officer's knee, and fear set in.
You're 6'3" saying this to a 5'7", that's intimidating.
As a mother, I was devastated, to say the least. Our whole family has been affected by it.
Yeah, so they said the George Floyd comment. I've been on a job a few years ago whenever some dude said something. When that happened, it was a bunch of racism going on at my job. You know, people, you know, these white folks saying some shit. I had to almost whoop somebody's ass for that shit, man. You know, he's like, you know, fuck, because there were riots. And the dude said something about he said something about do them like we used to do them and spray them down with hot water hoses, something like that. He said some racist shit. I don't know, man, but that's how it is. That's how it is in Indiana. And guess what? He didn't get in no trouble. All right. At another one of my jobs, a dude just recently said some shit. He said some shit like black people are stupid, pretty much. He said some shit. Overheard him say some shit like what he said, black people can't count and this, that, and the other, like, and then try to make it seem like he was talking about a certain individual, but he, you know what I'm saying? He said black people as a whole can't count and they're stupid. Just saying this weird shit, man, you know? And guess what, man? You know, I reported that dude, and guess what they did? Nothing. They didn't give him a strike. They didn't fire him. They didn't do shit to the motherfucker. They sent him right back out there on the line. So, like the scripture said, Psalm 73:5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. The Lord gonna fuck y'all up. It says, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. Yeah, their eyes stand out with fatness because they're ruling this earth. They got more than their heart could wish. You know, that it says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. Yeah, they speak wickedly concerning oppression to, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and all this other stuff. You know, you ain't getting no reparations and all this other stuff, man. Like, it says they set their mouth against the heavens, yeah, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Yeah, their tongue walketh through the earth. Their policies, that, you know, the military bases is in all types of places all over the earth, man. They set their mouth against the heavens. Yeah, they're against the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Therefore, his people return hither, and waters of a cup. Let me see. Yeah, waters of a cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doeth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. And these are those people, man. Verse 17, it says, until I went into the sanctuary of the Lord, until we came into this truth and really understood, we couldn't understand their end. It says, then understood I their end, because they're coming to an end. You white folks ain't going to be around for too much longer. I hope you know that. It says, until I went into the sanctuary of the Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, then understood I their end. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. So so eventually the Lord is about to destroy you, people, man. And before that, you're going into slavery for 1,000 years. You're going into slavery, you damn devil. All right, we're gonna be whipping your motherfucking backs. We're gonna pay all of you back for what you've done to us, man. Every single one of you. You're never gonna get away. All right. Anyway, with that, man. Hey, Shalom.